This week, a World Cup red card got erased for the first time in 64 years, right after the President of the United States personally called FIFA. That is not satire. That is the actual news. So, since we're clearly living in the weirdest timeline anyway, let's ask the big one. What if the USA, a country that calls football soccer and means it, actually wins the 2026 World Cup? What would it take, and would the rest of the planet ever accept it? Let's find out. First, meet the squad that has America frantically Googling what is offside. The captain, Christian Pulisic, the closest thing US soccer has to a superstar, a man who's carried this program for so long he should be charging it baggage fees. Up front, Folarin Balogun, the team's top scorer with 3 goals and current owner of the most famous red card on planet Earth. On the sideline, Mauricio Pochettino, a coach with an elite resume, and, presumably, a very interesting group chat this week. And the not-so-secret weapon, home advantage. Packed stadiums, zero jet lag, and an entire nation that just discovered it owns flags with soccer balls on them. They beat Bosnia to reach the round of 16, their first knockout win in 24 years. And with Canada and Mexico already gone, the US is the last host standing. On paper, this is the best American team in a generation. On paper. Now, let's pump the brakes. America's best ever World Cup finish came in 1930. The very first tournament, when there were 13 teams, half of them arrived by steamship, and the ball weighed roughly as much as a toddler. Since then, mostly home by the second week. When this World Cup kicked off, bookmakers had the US at 50-1, which is Vegas for sure, buddy. They've since climbed to about 20-1, which sounds impressive until you translate it, technically not zero. And remember, this team needed one of the most controversial calls of the tournament, plus a presidential phone call, just to keep its striker on the field. That's not the aura of a champion. That's a team speedrunning the everything must go right playthrough. And everything is a lot, because look at this bracket. France are cruising and have conceded basically nothing. Argentina still have Lionel Messi and that annoying little habit of winning everything. Spain, England, nations that treat football like a religion, while America treats it like a Netflix show it swears it's going to finish. And if you think the Giants are safe, Brazil, 5-time champions, just got bounced by Norway. Neymar was so devastated, he retired from international football on the spot. That's the World Cup. It does not read your resume, which cuts both ways. It can humble the favorites or the hosts. So let's dream. The US gets past Belgium, Balogun back in the lineup thanks to the phone call. The crowd goes full 4th of July. Pulisic enters God mode. Suddenly a nation that thinks 0-0 is a typo is calling in sick to watch penalty shootouts. And it's not even crazy. Only 8 countries have ever won this thing, and 6 of them did it at home. Home advantage is basically a 12th player, and unlike Balogun, it can't get a red card. For a while, the fairy tale is alive. For a while. Because eventually, every fairy tale meets a wall named France, or Argentina. Teams that are deeper, faster, and frankly scarier right now. And there's a brand new problem. After the Balogun reversal, every close call that goes America's way will be reviewed by 8 billion unpaid referees on the internet. Belgium, a nation of chocolate, waffles, and now world-class indignation, is furious. Their coach joked that July 5th had apparently become April Fool's Day. So even if the US wins clean, half the planet will squint at it. Winning is hard. Winning without the entire world doing air quotes? Nearly impossible. Which brings us to the elephant, the bald eagle, in the room. Quick recap of things that actually happened. Balogun gets a straight red against Bosnia. At this World Cup, that's supposed to be final. FIFA itself confirmed there is no appeal. The team starts planning for Belgium without him. Then, Sunday morning, FIFA announces the suspension has been suspended. 1-year probation. Free to play. Hours later, the Associated Press reports the president had personally called FIFA's president to request a review. Quite possibly the most powerful, let me speak to your manager, in human history. Trump then publicly thanked FIFA for reversing what he called a great injustice. FIFA, for its part, says this was simply its disciplinary committee applying its own rulebook. Make of the timing what you will. Though fun fact, that same rulebook famously bans governments from meddling in football. Countries have literally been suspended for it. Oh, and the cherry on top. The last time a World Cup red card got forgiven like this was 1962. Brazil's Garrincha. Brazil then won the entire tournament. So, if you believe in omens, I'll see you at the final. So, can the USA actually win it? Short answer, probably not. No host has lifted the trophy since France in '98, and beating France and Argentina back-to-back would be one of the greatest upsets in sports history. The realistic ceiling is a quarter-final, maybe a semi, which, for US soccer, would already be Mount Rushmore material. But home crowds are rocket fuel, momentum is a drug, and this team has, let's call them unusual tailwinds. Never say never. And honestly, the trophy is almost beside the point. A deep American run could do for soccer what the '94 World Cup did, times 10. A whole generation of kids choosing cleats over bats. But there's a shadow. With the president expected at the final, a FIFA Peace Prize already on his shelf. Yes, that is a real thing that exists now. And a red card undone after his phone call, any American triumph arrives gift-wrapped in politics, whether the players want it or not. Win it clean? Fairy tale. Win it like this? Half the world reaches for an asterisk. Because glory and legitimacy, it turns out, are two different trophies. So, the USA lifting the World Cup on July 19th, greatest sports story in American history, or the most controversial? Pick a side in the comments. Consider it FIFA's second disciplinary committee. And if you want to watch more giants fall, the video on your screen has you covered. Thanks for watching.